présentation.
Merci. Hop là. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. We'll just wait a couple of minutes for everyone to join, and then we'll get started. Those of you who have just joined, we're just going to wait a couple minutes to give everyone a chance to join. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. I see people are still joining, so just 1 or 2 more minutes. Hi, everyone. Okay, I think we will get started. Welcome to the open house day for the Sciences Po Graduate School of Journalism. My name is Annie Hilton, and I'm an associate professor at the school. And I'm delighted to be here with you this afternoon to introduce you some of our programs and answer a few questions at the end. I also have a couple of representatives here from the school who can help answer questions. So let's get started. We prepared just a short video to help introduce the school and some of the courses we teach. So Jeanne, if you could start it, that would be great. There's no sound. I think you have to unmute yourself.
Marion, qu'est-ce que je fais?
Yeah, perfect.
Il faut faire partager le son, Jeanne. Sur partager écran, il y a une petite flèche et tu fais partager le son.
Sorry, everyone, technical difficulties.
Ça marche?
No. Okay, maybe I will just share from my computer. That may be the easiest.
Maybe I have it. Okay.
Okay, great.
L'école de journalisme a été créée en 2004, donc c'était une période évidemment d'immenses changements, puisqu'on accueillait l'ère du numérique dans les médias. On était peu après l'éclatement de la bulle Internet et les rédactions étaient forcées de revoir complètement leur fonctionnement. Et l'école de journalisme a été créée au milieu de ces changements-là, avec vraiment deux objectifs. D'une part, former des gens capables de réfléchir, capables de comprendre le monde dans ses nuances, capables de le raconter dans sa complexité, et d'autre part, capables de repenser leur métier et de préparer l'avenir dans le journalisme.
La pédagogie à l'école de journalisme, c'est 3 couches. La première couche, c'est de la culture générale pour comprendre les enjeux du monde, de l'actualité, des différentes informations sanitaires, internationales et autres. La deuxième couche, c'est une grosse partie pratique. On va apprendre à produire des informations dans des conditions réelles, c'est-à-dire avec des deadlines assez serrés, comme on pourrait être dans une rédaction professionnelle. Et la troisième couche, c'est le sens du collectif.
I really try to cover a lot of ground. Oftentimes, these are students who haven't got a lot of journalism experience. So it's really about telling them about the basics of reporting, getting out there, getting your story, interviewing sources, what are sources to begin with.
Je donne un cours qui s'appelle la station-service, où en fait on envoie les étudiants sur un terrain local pendant un semestre. Donc ça peut être un arrondissement parisien, ça peut être une ville de proche banlieue. Et puis on se retrouve une matinée, 3 heures par semaine en fait, pour le moment de la station-service. C'est le moment où on recharge les batteries en quelque sorte. On réfléchit ensemble à des idées de sujets, ils proposent des idées, on travaille sur leur reportage, sur les difficultés qu'ils peuvent avoir.
On n'est plus entre guillemets à l'école, mais on est dans une rédaction avec ses codes, il n'y a plus nécessairement un professeur, un enseignant et des étudiants. Non, il y a des collègues qui travaillent ensemble, qui peuvent s'entraider, qui peuvent échanger des informations, qui peuvent compter sur leur rédacteur en chef au moment où ils ont un doute sur leur enquête, un doute sur leur tournage, un doute sur leur montage.
Il y avait tellement d'astuces très concrètes sur comment on raconte une histoire. Ça m'a ouvert les yeux sur comment on fait un bon sujet de journalisme, comment on fait pour intéresser les gens, comment on fait pour garder les gens et comment on fait surtout pour rendre son sujet non plus intéressant mais important.
En première année, je me rappelle que personne dort. On n'a pas de vie. Mais de l'autre côté, on est très vite autonome. On s'est monté, on utilise tous les logiciels de montage, que ce soit radio, vidéo. On écrit, on utilise les réseaux sociaux. Donc cette charge de travail fait qu'on prend confiance en soi et arrivé en rédaction, on peut être force de proposition, on peut proposer des sujets, on peut travailler en fait normalement, quoi.
C'est ça souvent qui est impressionnant avec les étudiants, c'est qu'ils bossent beaucoup. Et au final, ils rendent des sujets qu'on aurait envie de voir sur sa propre antenne. Parfois, c'est marrant, j'ai des journalistes professionnels dans ma rédaction qui font des sujets et j'ai à peu près la même thématique qui m'est proposée.
J'ai traité des sujets qui vont de la fraude au certificat pour aller en salle de sport à des petits déjeuners solidaires, des gens qui sont sourds et qui sont obligés de vivre avec la crise du Covid depuis 1 an et le port du masque qui les empêche de communiquer.
À l'école de journalisme de Sciences Po, on a la chance de pouvoir utiliser beaucoup de matériel qui nous permet de faire des projets personnels aussi sur le côté. Donc moi, j'en ai profité. Je me suis rendue notamment au Kurdistan irakien pour faire un reportage dans des camps de réfugiés. Donc ça, c'était évidemment le sujet qui m'a le plus marqué, où j'ai énormément appris sur le terrain.
J'ai fait un mois au bureau de Washington de France Télévisions, du coup aux États-Unis. C'était au mois de janvier et pendant ce mois-là, en fait, il y a eu la passation de pouvoir entre Donald Trump et Joe Biden.
L'un des projets qui m'a particulièrement marqué, c'était peut-être il y a quelques mois de cela, pour participer en fait à une bourse. On devait envoyer un dossier, c'était la bourse René Paillot, et je l'ai fait sur des petits villages à la frontière nord-pyrénéenne dans le sud de la France. C'était un format intéressant, il y avait de la vidéo, il y avait du son, et donc j'ai eu la chance de le gagner, ce qui signifie qu'à partir de la rentrée en septembre, je travaillerai pendant 1 an à la rédaction de RFI comme présentatrice.
La bourse d'RMC, c'est un concours, en fait on appelle ça bourse, mais c'est un concours entre toutes les écoles de journalisme reconnues. Je suis arrivé second de cette bourse et donc j'ai remporté un CDD d'1 mois. Je vais aussi devenir pigiste pour la chaîne L'équipe, donc à partir du mois d'août. Je suis arrivé en tant qu'aspirant et je vais ressortir en tant que journaliste professionnel, donc j'ai vraiment tout appris. J'ai appris une rigueur, j'ai appris une concentration, une méthode, et puis j'ai aussi appris à travailler avec les autres. J'ai grandi en tant que journaliste et surtout en tant qu'homme, et ça c'est pour moi une force incroyable quand une école nous fait grandir à ce point-là.
Sciences Po m'a apporté déjà un carnet d'adresses
considérable, des contacts dans le monde du journalisme, des futurs employeurs ou des futurs collègues. Et Sciences Po m'a aussi apporté l'aspect international en fait. En fait, si j'avais pas fait Sciences Po, je pense que je me serais vraiment cantonnée à du journalisme franco-français et c'est pas ce qui m'intéresse. Et ça m'a vraiment ouverte sur l'international.
On est tous les intervenants dans cette école, les encadrants, la direction de l'école de journalisme, des journalistes. C'est-à-dire qu'on connaît leurs difficultés, on connaît les rédactions et on sait aussi les accompagner, les orienter, leur présenter des recruteurs pour demain, leur présenter des responsables de service qui ont besoin de quelqu'un en renfort pour un stage, pour l'été, peut-être pour découvrir finalement un nouveau média auquel ils ne pensaient pas forcément.
Mon rêve pour les étudiants de l'école de journalisme et pour ces futurs journalistes qu'on accompagne aujourd'hui, c'est qu'ils puissent déployer dans les années à venir au maximum leur créativité pour être porteurs de solutions, pour être un vecteur de l'amélioration de la qualité de l'information, pour être un vecteur d'un renouveau du journalisme et d'une réimagination finalement quotidienne de ce métier dont on a besoin et dont notre société ne peut se passer.
Perfect. So great. So just a word of caution. All of our programs train students in one profession and one profession only, which is to be a journalist. So we don't focus on other possible career avenues like communications or PR or working as a researcher in a nonprofit. We train journalists to be future journalists. Just a few basic facts about the school. We're a relatively young school created in 2004, which was recognized by the profession 5 years later. We have 180 instructors at the school, most of whom are professional journalists themselves, either independent or working in newsrooms across Paris or international bureaus. And they will come to the school and offer their courses and then return to their full-time jobs. All of the programs we offer sort of balance a range of courses from academic focus and theory to very practical workshops on journalistic practice, like fact-checking, news writing, live broadcasting, etc. And the digital aspect of journalism is really at the core of most of our programs. Great, so as you saw in the video, the school is equipped with professional quality material. We have, top grade cameras, a radio studio. So students are really prepared when they enter the employment market. We also work and collaborate with many professional journalists and newsrooms, so we understand what is expected in the job market in newsrooms. And so we're constantly adapting our curriculum to make sure that our graduates are ready to enter the job market upon completion of their studies. The pace of the program, as you may expect, is fairly intense. It's a 2-year program, regardless of which master you apply to, which means 4 semesters, and you're focusing both on, like I said, practical and academic courses. Just a quick note that at the school, we've been working very hard on an upcoming conference on new practices in journalism, which this year the theme is focused on sort of re-entering the field and reporting in the field, both amidst and sort of after COVID, if we can use that term at this point. So we're focusing on kind of a range of topics around that theme, and we have speakers coming from international venues, many of whom you will probably have heard about. So if you are interested, it's still possible to sign up, and this would be a wonderful introduction both to the school and the industry, as a range of journalists will talk about their professional experiences and sort of how they got started. So please sign up if you have the ability. It is in person, And we think it's an excellent opportunity to be introduced to the school. So our 4 programs at the school, we will get more in depth into each of these, is the Master in Journalism, which is our French program, the Joint Master in Journalism and International Affairs, our Anglophone program, the double degree with Columbia in New York, and then a partnership with École 42, which is a data school. So our sort of foundational program, the Master in Journalism, is our French program, and each cohort has about 60 students. Approximately 60 to 70% of your time will be devoted to journalistic workshops and practice, including reportage, fact-checking, 24-hour information. It sort of simulates a kind of newsroom environment. And then the others will be focused on academic courses that are still somewhat related to journalism. A quick note here is that you have the option in this program to do what we call a contrat d'apprentissage, which means that for 1 or 2 years, you have the option of working in a newsroom while being at the school. So you sort of divide your time between your coursework and then more professional experience on site. This is a French program, so if you're not a native French speaker, there are some language requirements. So just be sure you check those requirements and have the appropriate documentation when it comes time to applying. The Joint Master in Journalism and International Affairs, like I said, this is our Anglophone program, and there are fewer students in this cohort, about 30 per year. And it's a joint master's program between the International Affairs School and the Journalism School. So you're dividing your time, you're really dividing your time between journalism workshops and more academic courses. And there are 7 areas of focus at the International Affairs School that you can choose among, like international security, environmental affairs, human rights and humanitarian affairs. So you really have the opportunity to delve deep and to gain a foundational knowledge about an area of interest that you can then use to inform your journalistic practice. Like the French program, if you're not an English speaker, we do require, again, that you have some documentation to prove your English language ability. And we also ask that students have at least a basic knowledge of French, just because you'll be required to go out on the streets and interview people in French. Many French people do not speak English or prefer to speak French. So you'll have to have some kind of basic conversational level that enables you to practice in French as well. Okay, the dual degree with Columbia. One quick note is that depending on your situation, whether you're a student currently at Sciences Po, if you are a student in France or an international applicant, all of the deadlines are different. So this is detailed online on the admissions website. Just be sure that you're abiding by the correct deadline depending on what your situation is. For the dual degree with Columbia, this program is open only to students in the Master of Journalism, so not the Joint Master in Journalism and International Affairs. So it's once you've been admitted to the Master in Journalism program that you can then consider spending your second year at Columbia. And this allows you to gain 2 separate degrees, one at Sciences Po and one at Columbia. And we created this program because we think that it's a very complementary opportunity for students to experience, journalism life in France and America. And The last program I will speak about is an opportunity with École 42, which is a data school that we've partnered with. And students have the opportunity to complete their first year of studies at Sciences Po and then request to spend a year at the data school and then to come back to the journalism school for their third year. So if this is something you're interested in, keep it in the back of your mind, and the possibility, will come up during your time at Sciences Po once you've been admitted. And there's a bit of a sort of validation period, or rather trial period, when you kind of simulate an exercise at the data school and then pass on to the regular program. And most of our students do pass that. So just an opportunity to keep in mind if that's something you're interested in. Okay, a quick testimony from one of our graduates who is currently an instructor at the school. He teaches a reporting class. So he says, the connections I made interning at the New York Times Bureau during my time at Sciences Po are what helped me secure the reporting job further down the road. So this person clearly now works at the New York Times Bureau in Paris and imparts much of his reporting knowledge and experience on students at the school. So this is just an example of one of our instructors. I loved being in the intellectual, serious environment the school offered me. Yes, this is great. I think many of our students find the programs intense and somewhat grueling. But I think in the long run, many are grateful to have had the opportunity to both challenge themselves intellectually and in practical terms on the ground. Oh, great. We have just a quick video to show you again on a few testimonies from professionals in the field.
Bon, on est tous d'accord, la période est difficile, y compris pour envisager une carrière, un métier et une passion. Mais cette période difficile, elle nous dit également que le métier de journaliste, il est vital. Raconter la vie telle qu'elle est, distinguer le vrai du faux, mettre en perspective, c'est vital aujourd'hui encore plus qu'avant. Et pour faire ça, il faut faire une école, il faut faire une bonne école. Et à Sciences Po, les profs sont super, les camarades que vous rencontrerez seront super. Et c'est la meilleure chose, le meilleur marchepied que vous puissiez trouver pour embrasser ce métier, cette carrière et cette vie qui est à nul autre pareil. Venez, à très bientôt.
Il y a 11 ans, j'ai obtenu mon diplôme de l'école de journalisme de Sciences Po et aujourd'hui je suis à la Maison Blanche pour couvrir les présidentielles américaines pour la chaîne France 24. Ce que je retiendrai de cette école, ce qui a été le plus important pour moi, c'est l'importance de l'international, que ce soit dans le choix des élèves, dans les cours proposés et dans les possibilités de stage et de cursus à l'étranger. C'était vraiment très important, c'était une incroyable aventure ces 2 ans à Sciences Po. J'ai beaucoup appris et ça me sert encore aujourd'hui.
Aujourd'hui, je travaille à l'équipe, j'ai intégré l'équipe il y a 2 ans en gagnant la bourse l'équipe et l'école m'avait bien aidé à ça en mettant à ma disposition un intervenant qui a pu bien m'aider et bien me coacher pour remporter la bourse. Aujourd'hui à l'équipe, je fais à la fois de l'édition, je suis aussi JRI, je suis aussi rédacteur. Tout ça, toute cette polyvalence, je l'ai acquis grâce à l'EDJ dans le parcours télé où on a pu toucher à tout. Donc voilà, si vous avez vous aussi envie d'être journaliste sportif et notamment à l'équipe, l'un des plus grands médias sportifs français, l'EDJ c'est le bon endroit et n'hésitez pas à bosser et à tout donner pour essayer d'intégrer l'école parce que vous y serez très bien formés.
Right now, right now, right now. As journalists, our job is to deliver accurate and immediate information, and even the beginning of analysis, just seconds or minutes after an event occurs. It's not easy, particularly if you're not a specialist in the subject, but there are tricks that you can learn to help you along the way and to understand what you know, what you don't know, and how to make sure that you only write what you know. As an added bonus, we'll also talk about investigations and how to defend yourself against rich people's lawyers.
Je suis diplômée du double diplôme Columbia Sciences Po promo 2010 et j'en garde un souvenir merveilleux. C'est là où j'ai rencontré mes mentors, mes amis et futurs collègues dans la profession et mes futurs chefs aussi. J'y ai donc fait mon réseau et surtout j'y ai appris la rigueur nécessaire dans mon travail et j'y ai fait mes premières armes. J'en serais donc sans doute pas où j'en suis aujourd'hui sans cette formation.
The dual degree helped me a lot professionally. First of all, it opened doors in the English-speaking world. I started my career in the United States and then I worked at Monocle in London, and I guess it helped me a lot to learn how to write and function in an English-speaking newsroom, which was amazing and what I wanted to do. And then in the long run, it's helped me a lot understand the different practices and sort of be a better journalist overall. I then became a correspondent for AFP and I brought a lot of what I learned in the US with myself, and I think that just made me more exigent and better overall.
Je suis sortie Sciences Po il y a 1 an et depuis quelques mois je travaille chez RTL. Moi je bosse pour l'émission RTL Soir présentée par Thomas Soto et je cherche notamment des sons, un peu des archives pour le débat du soir, des informations pour nourrir le débat qui est donc présenté par Thomas.
Et oui, moi je m'appelle Thomas Soto, je ne sors pas de Sciences Po, je n'ai pas du tout 25 ans hélas, et j'ai choisi de recruter Guillemette parce que c'est une énergie, c'est une force de travail, parce qu'elle compte pas ses heures, parce qu'elle réfléchit tout le temps, parce que c'est une machine, et ce qu'elle a oublié de vous dire c'est qu'en plus le 5e jour de la semaine, elle fait du reportage, donc c'est ce qu'on appelle un bon deal, et moi ce que je vous dis dans ces périodes difficiles c'est ne lâchez rien, ne vous découragez pas, faites comme Guillemette et vous pousserez toutes les portes. Voilà, Guillemette, welcome encore.
Merci et bienvenue à Sciences Po.
Okay, wonderful. So let's just take a moment to talk about what we look for in applicants and what is required of a successful applicant. So you will need a bachelor's degree or equivalent. As I mentioned, and I'll just repeat again, depending on your situation, where you come from, your current university or college, your deadline will be different. So please just ensure that you meet the correct deadline. Overall, we don't favor one subject over another. So whether you've completed a degree in history or philosophy is not necessarily important. What we look for is an excellent academic record. And again, you know, the language requirements will also come into play. Also, applicants, we do sort of assess whether you have a good knowledge and appetite for the news and the media, and that you have a strong career ambition that is concrete and well thought out, and that it's something feasible and tangible. Yeah, we can go on to the next slide. And where to apply? Our admissions site has all the details, and we posted it here because it's the best source of information. So please take note of it. We're also, we'll list our email at the end of the presentation. And if you have any questions, we're more than happy to work with you one-on-one to help you get the answers you need. Every year we survey our graduates to see where they work, in what sector, and so we can sort of evaluate how our alumni involve and adapt our curriculum to be to help our graduates be most attractive to employers. And as you can see here, we have a great record of employment among our graduates, 55% of whom have long-term contracts, which is great. And almost 40% of students are hired before they graduate. As you can see on this graph, again, most have long-term contracts, and then the vast majority also have like determined contracts or freelance roles in newsrooms or startups or whatever. Most of our graduates work in the world of images like TV, video, audiovisual production, and data. Still a large number work in the written press, also press agencies and wire services. So if these are areas of interest for you, this still makes up a significant portion of employment. So really what your ambitions are, we sort of tailor to you. Where do our graduates work? Most of them work in France, but still 30% work in international newsrooms, which is fairly significant. In terms of the salary that you can expect, probably, once you graduate, most of us don't achieve 4,500 euros and up immediately upon graduation. So that is comprised mostly of graduates who've been in the industry for longer. Our recent graduates sort of range between the area of 2,500 to 3,500 euros per month. And that pretty much sums up the presentation we had planned for you today. We're more than happy to take your questions now. Okay, so I'll just go through these then, unless Maëlle. The first couple are about language requirements. And all of this is detailed. It depends on the program you're applying for and what your country of origin or native language is. But all of this is detailed on the admissions website. If in the first question you're referring to the joint program, the English program, no, not English. Not only is English sufficient, you will need to have a basic level of French. You won't be tested on your French, but in terms of a formal French test, but you'll be asked questions in French during your oral interview with the school. So you'll need to demonstrate that you have a basic understanding of the French language. What level of French do you require? Again, I'm not sure which program this is referring to, but all of this is detailed on the website. Did you want to add something, Jeanne?
No.
Okay.
I think Maëlle couldn't be a panelist.
Okay, no problem.
I have access to the sound, but I can't put my video. And I think the questions come a bit late for me. So that's why I didn't see the question before.
So I'm applying for the joint master's program and wanted to ask about the interview process and requirements. When do we know if our application is selected for the next stage? It's not on a rolling basis. I'll let you take that one, Jen.
It's not on a rolling basis, and I think it depends on what procedure you apply, through which procedure you apply. So it depends. Maybe you can write to the school and we'll give you a more precise answer.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the interview process, usually there's a panel composed of 2 or 3 people who work at the school or are instructors at the school, and they'll sort of test you on your knowledge of the news, on your career ambitions, what you hope to do in the future, those sorts of questions. And, we do find that the most successful applicants are those who have long thought about a career in journalism. This isn't something that you've just sort of prepared the day before your interview. It's something, you're constantly thinking about. You're consuming news, you're thinking about your role in the industry, and that seems to serve our applicants the best. Is this course suitable if I'm aiming for the position in the EU institutions to work with communications? The answer to that is no. If you're applying for the joint master's degree in journalism and international affairs, I don't think this is the best fit for you. We are training journalists and only journalists. So if your career ambition is to work in, the EU institution, you know, there's certainly a master's program that is better suited for your ambitions, but we train people to work in journalism. What do you expect for the personal essay / cover letter? Jeanne, do you want to?
There is no special expectation. We just want the personal essay to be personal, to learn more about you and what is your story in life or what is your drive. It's just personal to everyone.
Yeah, and one thing I would add is this, it probably sounds, you know, like basic information that should be expected of everyone, but we want to see that you're able to write clearly, that there are no spelling or grammatical errors. You can't imagine how many essays and documents we receive that aren't articulated well. So that also goes a long way in terms of you being able to articulate, you know, who you are, how you came to be interested in journalism, or just your personal story, whether it's connected to journalism or not. For the joint masters with SIA, what is the process for applications for Sciences Po undergraduates? Again,
the process is the same for all masters. You will need to choose before February the 6th, I think. And then you will have the oral examination in March.
I'm an Italian student who's currently finishing my undergrad in graphic design and communications in the US. If I apply for the English degree, do I have to take a test in English? No, there are exemptions for the language test, which include either being a native speaker or having completed undergraduate studies in English. You will need to have sufficient proof or documentation to illustrate that you have that level of English. But again, I would encourage you to look at the admissions website because this is all very clearly detailed there. What is it?
I'm really sorry because like I cannot access the video for some reason and I see the question pretty late. So that's why I can't answer. But I just saw a question that I think it would be nice for me to answer. What do you expect for the personal essay cover letter? I would say try to make your cover letter the more personal possible. At least that's what I did. Like try to say why you're here, why you want to be a journalist, what you've done before. But I think the journalism school also wants to see your personality. And I think that's an important part. At least that's what I've done. So I would really recommend to do something personal. Don't be afraid of like talking about your life. And yeah.
Yes, she's right. It has to be personal.
Thank you. What is the necessary average from Collège Universitaire or Sciences Po to be considered as a relevant candidate?
All students are considered. All students from Sciences Po are considered. You will all go through an oral examination.
What if we're currently in the process of learning French at a beginner's level? Will it affect the application for the joint master's program? No, I think that we'll definitely take that into consideration. You don't need to submit, as I mentioned, you don't need to submit a formal French test with your application for the joint program, but you will be asked questions in French, specifically if you have a plan to improve your French language abilities during the oral interview process. So if you're already beginning the process of learning French, this will definitely weigh in your favor. Anything you want to add, Jen?
No, that's it.
Okay. Yes, the questions asked in French, clearly you will need to answer them in French as well. This helps us test your level of French and your ability to conduct interviews on the street in French. Simply asking a question in French and having you respond in English wouldn't necessarily illustrate to us that you're capable of understanding. Is it possible to go into cultural journalism after this master, or is it not relevant? Yes, certainly. Yeah. Jeanne?
Yes, I think so. I think so. You can go.
You can do, yeah, whatever journalism you want. Yeah, I think we have many instructors and students who are interested in cultural reportage or reviews.
Maybe Maëlle can answer that.
Oh, Maëlle, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's some students in the master who currently want to become, want to do cultural journalism. So that's definitely a possibility. At least I know some people in the master who wants to do that. So yeah, that's possible.
Wonderful. Would someone with a few years, less than 5, of professional experience in a local newsroom be considered overqualified for the Joint Journalism International Affairs program? I'm looking to expand from a local to a global focus, but not necessarily starting from scratch.
No, it's okay. We have some experienced one in the Joint Master. They were in another country and they want to work in France. And they were specialized in some kind of journalism and wanted to learn about other kinds of journalism.
Yeah, I think one thing to consider is if you already have a few years of journalism experience is that you make clear in your application the added value of attending the school and what you think we can teach you, just because we often do start from the basic, skill set. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm 63 years old from India, currently pursuing master's in political science. I wish to pursue political journalism and hence I'm interested in pursuing a double master's in journalism. My English is good, but no French language. Would you welcome such background into the program? I mean, in general, your experience sounds fascinating and very relevant. I think that you have a good English level is good, and you will need to submit, proof of your English language abilities. But the no French language will be problematic for you. So if you really are interested in the program, I would suggest you start pursuing language courses or figure out a plan to start learning as soon as possible. In the master's program in French and or the dual degree with Columbia is suitable for someone who already has a career in journalism, but wishes to deepen and refresh his or her knowledge and refocus his or her career. I think we sort of answered that, Jeanne?
Yes. We have people with professional experience in the Joint Master, not so much in the Master in Journalism, more in the Joint Master.
Yes, I agree. Just know you will be studying alongside, a range of experiences. So some people have 0 experience in journalism and others do have a bit. Typically we don't take journalists who are well established in their careers. There's not really much we can offer those people. Maëlle, if you have something you want to add about your cohort and their levels of experience.
I think it varies a lot. There are some people who don't have a lot of experience in journalism. Me, for example, I've only done very, very short internships in local media outlets. And I've written for some student journals and I've created my blog. So it's still like a bit of experience, but some people have way more experience. Some people have been writing articles before pitching to some media. Some people have actually worked as journalists. I think we have a Russian student who used to be a journalist in Russia. But yeah, it's just a mix of very different backgrounds, very different experiences, but we kind of all in the same boat now. Like we all at the same point, we learn the same thing. And I think that's, maybe you could confirm after, but I think that's maybe also what the school is searching for, to have different profiles, different backgrounds. And when you mix it up all together, it's very enriching, and it's definitely like, yeah, don't be afraid of not having enough experience. If you know why you want to be a journalist, if you're sure of it, then you're gonna learn a lot in this master's anyway. So yeah.
We have another student who's 39 and is from abroad. So it's possible, but you have to bear in mind that you will go back to the basics of journalism also.
Yeah. Can you speak to the 10-week internship after semester 2 and semester 4 in the joint master's program? Yeah, so the internship is a key component. Oh, go ahead, John.
Yeah. You have to do 8 weeks of internship per year. That's it. So you can do them in the winter time, in the winter break, or in the summer.
Does the program have any coding component to it? Do you learn the basics of coding that can be applied to journalism?
You have data courses. I'm not sure if you have them in joint master, but I think you can. You may be able to enroll in the data courses in the Master of Journalism.
Yeah, and then if you're very interested in coding, you have the option of the data school during your second year. Yeah. How much prior journalism experience is expected for the application to the joint program?
I answered this.
Yeah, we said that already. About the relevance of this course for a career in communications in international organizations, why does the application site say that your career openings include public relations and press offices of NGOs, etc.? It's just a bit confusing. Thank you for your answer. Jeanne, do you have an answer for that?
I'm not sure what she's referring to, but maybe some of journalists worked in journalism and then at the end worked in NGOs, I guess.
I think what she means is our website says that we form people for communications with NGOs, but we have made very clear during this presentation that we train people as journalists. So there's a bit of a discrepancy there.
We'll check.
We will check that. If you would like to get in touch with us individually, that would help. We could get you a more straightforward answer. I think we have to wrap up. For those of you who we could not get to, please feel free to reach out at the email we included on the last slide, which, just to remind you, is école.journalisme@sciencespo.fr. Feel free to get in touch and we'll do our best to answer your questions through email. Thank you so much for being here today and for attending our session, and have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.